I use this to help keep my coffee warm. It worked a little bit, but it's been hours. So good morning, everyone. I can't wait to tell you about the morning already, and then yesterday. So bless your heart. I know I usually reserve coffee chats for my vlog channel, but good morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeri-Ann. If you're new here, I am a crafter, DIYer, living on a budget, organizer, teaching people how to work with limitations for their physical and mental health. Turns out I have kidney cancer, stage 4 renal carcinoma that has metastasized to my bones. So I'm going through a lot, but it's okay. I'm doing it with a smile. God's in my heart and I'm in God's hands. So if you want to just join me, grab a cup of coffee. We like to just sit and have coffee together. And I'm going to tell you about what happened at the doctor's office yesterday. And that I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. So hold on. This is even good cold. Yes, this coffee is cold. I am trying to upload. I try to make my uploads for 8 a.m. now. It used to be midnight. So I make my uploads for 8 a.m. and it is storming here and the internet is like... So I'm currently vlogging while it's uploading. It's just the way it has to be. So I'm waiting and waiting, and usually I vlog a little earlier. My husband makes my coffee for me at 5 a.m. because I have limited mobility. I don't have limited mobility because of my size. I have limited mobility because I have a giant tumor in my femur that I'm not supposed to put any weight on. So if you're new here, that's pretty much it. If you've been around for a while, thank you for sticking while I just babbled on. I wanted to come on today to tell you that if you don't follow me on the vlog channel, then you don't know that I was having trouble getting my insurance to approve the radiation therapy. So taking a step back, I have been taking daily chemotherapy pills. I'm going every 2 weeks for immunotherapy, and I'm going once every 4 weeks for a shot called Exgiva, which basically strengthens my bones and keeps them from breaking as easily. The reason we want to do that is because there's tumors in a lot of bones. So, but we're merely most concerned about what's happening in the thigh bone, because the tumors in my shoulders, yes, I do use my shoulders, but they don't bear all the weight. The tumor in my rib cage, it's like little, and it's not really in a place where we have to worry about it so much. But the fact that 50% of my weight pretty much goes on to each leg, supports each leg, we are worried about the ones that are in my femur the most. And I feel like there's something in my left eye right now. Could just be dry eye, so forgive me. Don't worry, I sanitize like a crazy person. It could be my allergies too, so forgive me. So the insurance company having a lot of trouble approving the radiation. The radiologist, the radiation oncologist wanted to see if an orthopedic surgeon wanted to pin my knee before we started doing any treatment. Now, previously I was told there was a fracture in the knee, a hairline fracture. It was shown on the first initial x-ray and then again on the MRI, but the orthopedic surgeon that I saw yesterday doesn't believe that to be a fracture. He believes that to be edema, basically, so like blood on my bone. So we took new x-rays yesterday and he confirmed that there's no fracture going up my leg. So what's causing the pain? Yes, the tumor pushing on nerves and things and all this stuff. The concern still is about the leg breaking, though. The tumor, I wish I had a photograph or a thing. So basically the bottom of your femur looks like this, and my tumor is about, let's see if we can do it. So the bottom of your femur looks like this shape, and the tumor is like about that big. So I have very, very little bone around there. So he doesn't even know what can be done. Possibly putting a plate over it to support it while it gets radiation. So he wants me to see a orthopedist oncologist, which is basically there's just like one that he knows of in St. Louis. There's very few in the country, is what he said. To be honest with you, because it's like a specialty. So he wants me to go see that doctor. The insurance company, the reason I was able to see the doctor finally was because we had to fill out an application for Medicaid for this emergent situation. And because I'm Medicaid pending, then they went ahead and they saw me at the doctor's office. So that's why we're able to see other doctors now. But this all happened very quickly yesterday, a day before yesterday, excuse me. And they wanted to see me like right away. So today was the first availability, or yesterday was the first availability that we could get, where Jim didn't have to take off from work. So we went after 2:45. He was home by then. So today, as you're watching this, was yesterday. Today I have immunotherapy treatment, my second one. So that's what we're headed. The first one that I'll have my port be accessed. I am going to talk to the oncologist, excuse me. I'm a little concerned about the lump at the top. I feel like that's kind of a new thing. But if you're not aware, I got a port placed to access for any treatments that I might need in the future. I am bruised here, but it is a lot less bruised than it was. It's healing very nicely. You can see the cord go up my neck, and now there is a lump at the top where it connects to, I guess, my vein. I don't actually know what that is. There was a small bruise here that was, I think, just from them manipulating my neck. I do bruise very easily. Before the cancer and cancer treatments, I always ran borderline anemic, mostly during my menstrual cycles, but I can tend to go that way if my diet is not rich in iron, basically. Excuse me. And we've been eating much more white meat than we have been eating red meat. So, and just basically getting my iron from certain vegetables and not even a lot of them. So, okay. Yesterday, the big takeaway, besides that I need to see an orthopedic oncologist, is he watched me use my rollator and he said, no. Basically, he said, have your husband push you in it because you're bearing too much weight on your leg, even using that. And I kind of like, that was harder to take than, Jerry, you have stage 4 renal carcinoma. Because I had just gotten to the point with the rollator that I just felt so much more independent and I could go. And basically, he said, pump the brakes, basically. And not basically, he said, pump the brakes. I say basically a lot. I'm so sorry. He said, I don't like that you're bearing so much weight on it. I had no idea you were. His major concern yesterday, besides don't bear more weight on it, is actually the tumor up on my femur. I do have 3 spots on my femur. The big one by my knee, which is down at the bottom of the femur. Then I have 1 spot midway, it's kind of small. And then I have 1 spot up by the hip, which is the one they biopsied, which is kind of big considering the bone. So basically, if this is your femur, this is my example of my hairy brush. So if this is your femur and the bone at the top that gets towards the hip, you can see that the bone is quite thin. Down here where touches your kneecap is quite wide. So though the tumor here is pretty big, there's still a lot more bone around it, as opposed to the tumor here that is a lot smaller but invades more of the bone. It's the best way I could describe it to you. So he's more concerned about that now, because the other thing is, like the strength of the bone. So the strength of the bone up here is not as strong as it is as the bottom of the femur, where it actually kind of was created to always get that impact from your knees. So I am not going to cry in this vlog. I promised everyone I would not cry in this vlog. So that being said, we are going to start, well, we started yesterday to take it easier. It is very difficult. I'm not going to lie. I really have struggled through this whole thing the most with being taken care of. That has been my biggest struggle with all of this since the beginning, is accepting help was a big thing that I had to get over. But also, like, say, just emptying the commode for me. Yes, I've done it for so many people a million times in my life, but that's not the point. I don't ever expect anybody to do it for me, because you don't do something for somebody to expect it in return. So that's the hardest part for me, is accepting help. And the fact that I was becoming more and more independent made me feel so good. And the fact that it's gotten curbed back a little bit. And I'll say a little bit because there are certain things I still can do. I can still brush my hair. I can still shower myself once I get in the shower. So, one thing I asked him before my x-rays was about supporting the leg from the outside. And he said, we could talk about it. There's not much I can do, but what I can do, you're not going to like. Then when he threw me for the curveball of stop bearing so much weight on your leg, I forgot to bring it back up again. So we didn't actually talk about it. The doctor was amazing. I'll tell you the truth. He said he dressed very casual, which I really loved. The first thing when he walked in the door, I was like, oh my gosh, a doctor who wears jeans and loafers, my favorite. And he's like, well, I like to treat my patients like my family, and I want them to know that they're cared as if they were my family. And I do that because this is how I dress in front of my family. And he said, usually I wear a polo shirt, because he had a button down. He's like, usually I wear a polo shirt. This is fancy for me today. So it did make me feel really good. And that was why he recommended this doctor, because he wants to care for me the way he would a family member. And he was honest. And he's like, this is a very unusual and scary situation where there's not much bone to hang on to. For normally we would put a rod. He's like, normally to support a femur, we'd put a rod down through the femur. But how would we do that? Would it go straight through the tumor? Could it aggravate it, make it worse? And that whole scenario. So no more news on like the cancer spreading, curing front. There's just news about the femur. And honestly, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, right now, up until right now, if I didn't have a leg injury, I wouldn't even feel like I was sick. And I'm grateful that I got the leg injury, because that's how they found the cancer before it got really worse. But the leg injury is really what's making me, like, I'm tired from the chemotherapy and I'm tired from my body fighting cancer. But physically, other than exhausted, I'm not in any pain. I'm not really nauseated from the medication, but I do have like no appetite, which is kind of a weird sensation for me, being a food addict. No, I just really have no appetite. Maybe to someone else it would feel nauseated. To me, I did a little survey on an app from the Kidney Cancer Association sent me. And one of them is like, they gave all these things and they were like, do you feel nauseated? Do you feel full all the time? Do you have a lack of appetite? Or do you feel satiated right after you eat? And I was like, all of the above. I don't really feel nauseated, but that's the truth. I really kind of like feel like I'm full, which makes me have no appetite. And then when I do eat, because I know I have to eat something, one bite in and I'm like, nope, I'm done. But I can't. I know I have to eat it. Now, I'm not overeating, obviously, because I can't, because I'm barely getting in enough nutrients. An apple, a small apple with 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is... This morning it was a 4-ounce yogurt with half a cup of blueberries, but there's still some blueberries in there. Just can't. Coffee, I will tell you the truth, coffee is probably how I'm going to get my fat and calories, because it goes down easier. Protein shakes, even them, I think because they're so filling, they're not doing so good. Protein bars, they're not doing so good. I'm trying though. I'm doing my very, very best to get all of my nutrients in. Now, that being said, I feel much better in the evening. So I have been able to have dinner. Obviously, I've been making myself have some breakfast because I take medicine that requires food. My diabetes medicine is supposed to be taken with meals. So I do have dinner. Do have breakfast. I try to have lunch. Doesn't always happen, but I always definitely have dinner because I feel much better in the evening. So yeah, it kind of goes along with how I've been my whole life, where I haven't really been a breakfast eater till I was in high school. Really, I wasn't a breakfast eater till high school. That being said, the other thing that we're kind of is new to you guys is the last time we saw the oncologist, my sister mentioned that possible brain fog. Now, brain fog with cancer is a real thing. I actually just shared it on my Instagram that there's not only reasons for it. Well, there's not only types of brain fog, but there's reason for it. There is treatment for it, and there's food to like counteract brain fog, which I thought was really very interesting. However, she pointed out that they never looked for cancer in my brain. We did look at the skull because the bones, and I told you guys that what's kind of normal is like the sinus cavity lights up in black, or in white, or in my case it was black because it was like in a negative. So it's like even if there was something there, you wouldn't know it was there because like the doctor had said, oh, I always just look past that because that's normal. That's on everybody's. Okay. So they are going to MRI my brain. I actually told her they actually never looked at anything from my, I have a spot in my clavicle. They never even looked for like cancer in my nodes in my neck or anything. Like, the reason I know this is because when they did the chest and abdomen CT, my radiologist oncologist wanted me to get my shoulders x-rayed again because they had made me lift my shoulders up and they only cut me off like right here. So everything from here up was not on an MRI. They never get tested or CAT scanned or MRI'd or anything. So I have an MRI of my brains. I do hope they do from here up. Just to rule out anything else, I'd hate to miss something. Like, if I need to be taking a different type of chemotherapy for a different type of tumor, perhaps, or something. Like, I'd hate to just have it, to fight all this fight and then still have something go horribly wrong. And I know that that's a chance that that's something that can happen at any time. The thing that I've been commented about the most through all of this has been my positivity. Just about every doctor and nurse that I've run into is like, your attitude is amazing. And I was like, and I asked them, I was like, well, what's the alternative? And it's true. And I'm not trying to brag. I am 100% not. And it is hard. It is hard to deal with our mortality, no matter who we are. But being a child of Christ, I know whose I am and where I'm going to go in the afterlife. And I'm not trying to be arrogant about it, but that's just my belief. That's the way I was taught, and I've tried to live the way that I was taught, to be free of the things that will keep me out of heaven's gate, if that makes any sense. So to me, I'm very confident about that. And though I do have a lot more life to live, if I was to go, I would feel like I've lived a pretty great life. And I know that that's a crazy, maybe sounds like a contradiction, but it's really the way I can get through it type of thing. So, yeah, my positivity is like, look, say the number is 10%. 10% of the people live past 5 years. I have a different manifestation of my cancer than is typical. So I feel like I can fall into that 10%. I mentioned it before on my vlog channel. Typically, renal carcinoma, typically, not every time, goes from your kidneys to your lungs to your bones, and it skipped over my lungs. And possibly those people who only make it 5 years have that odds because it's infected their lungs. And knock wood, thank praise Jesus, and all of the things that you might do that might be superstitious or praising, like worshiping or being grateful. It's not. And I'm very grateful for it. And I was surprised, but pleasantly surprised. 100% pleasantly surprised. But like I said, I feel like I can beat this, whether or not the odds are against me. I don't care. Never really cared about the odds before. I mean, listen, I've been obese and morbidly obese for 51 years, and cancer's getting me. To me, that's like, if that doesn't beat the odds just by all the other things that could go wrong. When I made it past 49, I had already beat those odds. So, that being said, it's been an amazing journey. The outpouring of love from you guys has been so amazing. Jim and I are getting a P.O. box today, which then will start to be probably posted on this post. So check the description box down below for it if you're interested in sending any love my way. Many people have reached out for my address, but I know that a lot of people are apprehensive to reach out for an address. They're much more likely just to send something to a post office box. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. And thank you. I say it on my vlog channel every day that if nobody's told you, I will tell you that you are loved because I love you. And I sincerely mean that. I just don't love everybody because we're all God's children. I love you guys because you take the time out of your day to come in and spend with me. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for it. That I'm so grateful for you. And I feel completely blessed to have you in my life. I do. So listen, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I do apologize about the comments. We are working on ways that I could possibly get to read and respond. I've mentioned it before. It's very difficult. The YouTube's Google doesn't allow me to do all of the speak to text and translates and stuff. So it's very difficult. We're working on it. I'm trying to find somebody who could help me on a more permanent basis. Just with my sister away, Jim has been doing a little extra, so he doesn't really have time. So it's been like a little bit more difficult, but we're working on it, I promise. I try whenever I can. My eyes hurt so bad sometimes it's really hard, even with the magnifying glass. So please forgive me. And if you do see me answer a random text, I'm not dissing the other text. It's just if I can see one, if I can make one out and I answer it, then I do. So I love you. And as always, you guys, take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye.